Hello, strangers. Strange Worlds Unlimited. I'm your host, Fred Strange, and I am about to possibly make a statement, a series of statements. I'm not too sure how I'm going to phrase this properly. I don't know if I can phrase this properly. That might turn off half of my audience, or potential audience, or whatever, considering. Looking at my view totals, I don't have much of one. So, to the five of you out there, yeah. So this is being recorded and will be placed up as soon as I can get this, go through the process here. Uploaded as soon as I can go through the process. On November 9th, the day after Election Day in 2016. And despite how incredibly close and the election was, despite everything, every poll, every person who seemed to have some idea of, despite everything that was done and said, Donald Trump won. And Hillary lost. And I think I've expressed my opinion on certain topics before that would put me in the liberal camp. I'll admit it. And, I was never really a big fan of Hillary's to begin with. I remember the 90s. I remember the endless scandals. That she or Bill or whoever constantly put themselves into positions where the opposition would spend endless days and weeks and months and years doing all sorts of investigations and never finding anything. That's the thing. They never found anything to convict her on anything. The only reason why they were able to even impeach Bill was because he lied about something that he was just trying to cover his ass over. Inconsequential to anything that happened, they couldn't find any evidence about what they were looking for, so they tried to look for other things to see if they could nail him on it, and they caught him in a lie. Impeachment. That went nowhere. He still served out his term. And still was one of the more popular presidents that we've had in our history. But, and I was never really that big of a fan of kind of revisiting that. And Hillary running for president was going to be a revisit of that. I just knew it. I knew it in 2008 when she ran for president the first time, and Obama beat her. And I voted for Obama both times, both in the primary and in the election. Because I knew what the Republicans were going to do to her. 8 years later, she runs again. And this time, more so than in 2000. I mean, she ran in 2008, but it was kind of the presumptive nominee. And then Obama came along and slowly picked it apart and, played the populist message better, played the Democratic message better, and was able to convince more people. This time, whatever mechanism was involved in the Democratic Party that allowed Obama to come in to sweep in and take away Hillary's glory, they didn't allow it this time. And this time, Bernie Sanders tried to be the spoiler that Obama was. And this time, he didn't get the press. He didn't get the recognition. Nobody knew about him. It was effectively a coronation ceremony for Clinton, for Hillary. The crown is already on her head. And, okay. Bernie came close enough to scare them, but was never really allowed to get that close to do much damage to it. And I voted for Bernie because I knew, again, and I mean, it had already started because of her Senate work, because of Bill's foundation, and then of course because of when she was Secretary of State. The whole Benghazi thing, and just never, despite all of the stuff that had gone on with that, all the endless fact finding, the not trials, but what am I looking for? The hearings over that, the endless hearings that found nothing. She did nothing wrong. It was just a bunch of circumstances that all lined up perfectly to make a bad situation worse. And I'm gonna get a whole bunch of Republicans saying, "Well, no. Okay, the Republican Congress who looked into this 11 times." How many times did they investigate? 11 times? They all basically said, Hillary and the State Department and the Defense Department and all those people reacted as fast as they could with the knowledge that they had, which wasn't much, and help arrived just, in the time, in as fast as it could get there. Unfortunately, it wasn't fast enough. Everything just kind of lined up such that, the trouble happened and the help arrived after. So, and, the help arrived as fast as it could get there, as soon as they could figure out what and how, and then could get the things in motion to get it there, it was too late. And the Republican Congress, all those 11 things, all found that. She's done nothing wrong. But it's endless, and how much money did they spend on that? They spent millions of dollars investigating her. But I knew that was just going to continue on, and then the whole email thing happened. But she's a Democrat, and I could live with that. I could live with her. I'm not happy about it, but if that's what, the country did well under Clinton. The country has been doing well under Obama, despite whatever right-wing news sources are out there suggesting otherwise. Look at the numbers. The country is doing a whole lot better than it was 8 years ago. In general. If it hasn't gotten to you, and it hasn't gotten to me, that may be due more so to all the all the roadblocks that the Republicans put in place to keep it from happening. But that's neither here nor there. Clinton coming in was basically just going to continue what Obama had started. These past 8 years, Clinton come in was just going to continue on what Obama had been doing through. We're not going to be any drastic changes. If anything, it might be changes that, because Bernie Sanders had made such a go for it, he was able to get some things written into policy that hopefully Hillary might adopt. So at the very least, it would stay exactly where it is. If at best, she would adopt some of Bernie's policies and actually get some stuff, and hopefully, we would have been able to flip the Senate, or do some stuff so that we can actually stop the gridlock. Maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe the Republicans wouldn't have been so. So obstructionist against her as they were against Obama. They said no to everything. Despite whatever right-wing media you may be listening to, the Republicans just said no to everything. Whatever Obama was in favor for, even if it was a Republican idea, they just said no. We're not going to let you do that. It was our idea, we liked it, but then you said you liked it, so we're not going to do it. So, and then they put all the blame on him for it not happening. And despite all of that, the Republicans, all this clown car comes up on the Republican side. Just all the crazies. The worst of the worst in the Republican Party all went for the nomination. And on top of that, included in that, was Donald Trump, who said the worst of all of them. The most insane, ludicrous, crazy ideas that the more mainstream Republicans could come up with. Donald Trump matched them and went even further. Dug the hole even further. And he tapped into something. He tapped into all of yes. Not every Republican is racist. Not every white Republican is racist against blacks, against Hispanics, against Muslims, okay. In fact, I would suggest that there are very few white Republicans who are racist. Here's the problem, Republicans. The white racists are in the Republican Party. You guys have to deal with them, and quite frankly, there they are because Trump brought them all out. They are now all out in the open. You saw them at every rally because he was saying exactly what all of them and all of you wanted to hear. And you voted for him. You voted for him in huge numbers. And everything that said that Hillary was going to win, and they put the crown of democracy on her head for the DNC over the objections of everybody who was supporting Bernie. They were just about to put the crown of the presidency on her head. And Trump has taken it away. Now the problem is that Trump had said on the campaign trail a lot of stuff that, quite frankly, scares a lot of people, and I'm included. He scares me. He's a loose cannon. Okay, let me back up. He insulted just about every minority you can name, in one way or another. He said that the people that coming over from Mexico were not the best, not the brightest, or were generally criminals or drug dealers or whatever. Right? That was his very first speech. Okay, he talks about putting a ban on Muslims. He says temporary, but temporary. How long is temporary? Are we talking A couple months? Are we talking years? Are we talking never? What are you going to do with the Muslims that are already here? I've got several Muslim friends. I know many, and I know about many more. What's going to happen to them? I'm afraid for them. I'm afraid for my friends. I'm afraid for my Hispanic friends. Even the ones that are here legally. I'm afraid for my African American friends, of which I don't have many, but I've got a few, and I know, of course, of a lot more. I'm afraid for every minority that he has put out there, and at the white racists that are in the Republican Party, and all the bullying and everything that has been going on with him, and they've been taken from his example. They've been feeding off of each other. And you're sitting in the schools. You're seeing elementary kids look at their Hispanic or black or worse or some other even lesser minority, Muslim or whatever, and saying, well, you got to get out of the country now. We're going to deport you or whatever. And these, we may be talking about U.S. citizens here. They're not going anywhere. Where are you going to deport me to? Out of the state and into America? Where is that? So there's a lot of bullying going on, and the children are feeding off of that. He mocked a disabled person, and I've got a kid who has special needs. What's going to happen to her? And a female. His record with women is just deplorable. His record with women is deplorable, and then he feeds into other people. I'm sorry, deplorables. Clinton was right. If you're feeding off of what he's doing, you're just as deplorable as he is. It's not a way to act, and don't say, well, we're just reacting against the PC culture. It's not PC. It's not political correctness. It's being nice to people. It's treating them with respect. It's not political correctness. It's treating people with respect. Okay? And, this is a white man telling other whites out there, and as much as you guys, and yeah, I'd like to be respected by other people too, but as much as you demand respect, you have to also give it to other people. And you can't give respect and treat other people respectfully when you use derogatory terms and names. And, you use those kind of words, you use those kind of names against other minorities particularly, and then they call you a racist. Well, own it, because that's what you are, if you're using those kinds of terms. So, and it's not Trump so much that made me nervous. It was all of you people out there that were voting for him. That were okay. Not just okay with everything he was saying. Oh, that's just, we'll just ignore that, and then that's bad enough. What's worse is the people that actually, again, fed on what he said, repeated what he said, emulated what he said, and just encouraged him to say it more often. That's domestically. That whole, what he can do domestically, the culture that he's going to, that he has. I know he gave this acceptance speech that, he's going to be for all the people, and, I'll believe it when I see it. Almost 18 months or something like that of evidence to the contrary. And how are all the people that he fed that gunk into? How are they going to react to? Oh, he's treating black people nice. Oh, he's treating Hispanic people nice. Oh, he's treating Muslims nicely. No, we didn't want him to treat people nicely. We wanted them to kick them all out. Because we want him to, we want them all gone, so he wanted them all gone, so, how is his own supporters going to react if he decides to treat them nicely, and not kick them out? And then what if he does try to kick them out? That's the other part of that. Now, there are checks and balances, and of course you've got Congress in there that the problem is that both houses are still Republicans, so they could just write him a blank check. Maybe the Democrats can do unto Trump what the Republicans did unto Obama for the past 8 years and say no to everything, and maybe that'll be enough to disrupt whatever it is that Trump tries to pass domestically that would actually do a lot of damage. And there's a lot of damage that could be done. And repeal of Obamacare. I mean, how many people? Yeah, okay, there are problems with it, but how many more people have benefited from it than are being hurt from it? Doesn't really matter to me. I'm under a healthcare thing that wasn't affected by Obamacare one way or another. Okay, so that affects me not at all. I'm a white guy. I'm a white male. I'm not going to get affected by any of the racist stuff that he and his followers have been spouting for the past 18 months. I mean, I fear for my daughter just because she does have special needs and is a woman, a young woman who may get affected by the misogyny and all the other stuff. It's like, well, Trump can do it. I can, Trump can grab women wherever. I can do that too. Anybody lays a finger on my kid, they're dead. So, anybody thinks that they can do as Trump unto my daughter. You see my other videos, you see what I do as a hobby. It's not a good idea. So maybe the Democrats can be the check against whatever it is that Trump is going to try for the next 4 years domestically. What scares me the most is foreign policy. The man is a loose cannon. He's proved it time and time again. What if he goes on a Twitter tirade against some foreign power? What if that foreign power absolutely has nukes? How much time do we have? How much did everybody screamed about how much time Hillary spilled the beans on, and we got 4 minutes, half an hour of prep time between the time that somebody launches a missile at us, assuming it could hit us, launches a missile at us, and it actually hitting, and then we respond. Well, that's great. Great for the people who are already vaporized just because of Trump's hubris. What's he going to do to our alliances? As I speak right now, the stock market's already taken a dive. Maybe it'll recover. And as a history student, as a teacher, I can look back and say, I've seen all this before. I can look in the history books and say, oh, this looks familiar. We've been down this road before. We've had other cultures do this. And every time they've done this, their culture didn't last very long. Everybody was talking about, there's a whole bunch of people comparing Trump to Adolf Hitler. They invoke, what was it, Godwin's Law, I think it's called. Yeah, but if you listen to what he's saying there, it's like he's espousing fascist ideas. It's not Godwin's Law if it actually works, if it actually fits. And look what happened to the Nazis, to Hitler. Okay? More importantly, what I'm seeing here is Rome. Take a look at Roman history. And the Roman Empire, particularly. And the great thing about the good and bad thing about our modern age is that everything happens fast. So what took Rome hundreds of years to do could take us only a decade or two. I've been seeing things that, this is not necessarily, I don't necessarily want to make a, wild tinfoil hat conspiracy thing. I'm just noticing certain parallels here. The entertainment culture, the sports culture, the reality TV stuff, and the fact that people are paying more attention to that. When you're voting, when you've got more people voting for the American Idol winner than are actually voting for president, that's a problem. That's people not paying attention, or paying attention to the wrong thing. That's people being completely blinded to what's happening. And even, I'm not even talking about, getting into the whole conspiracy theory thing. I'm just saying they're paying more attention to what's going on their TV set, with their entertainment things, and they are paying attention to the news and wherever you get your news from, and preferably from a credible source, whatever you consider, hopefully a credible source. Mainstream media, but you're talking credible sources here. Okay, so where are you getting it from? A newspaper? You're getting it from credible online things. Don't go to just any website. Anything. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. But they're paying more attention to that than they are, and the same thing happened in Rome. People went to the Colosseum and had a great time, and didn't understand the fact that their culture, their government was falling apart, their armies were in disarray, and hey, we've got barbarians knocking down our door. Okay? And not to say that any of the immigrant problems that are barbarians knocking the door here. It's just that the Rome fell not by the barbarians knocking at the door, but Rome fell from within. Everything inside, the corruption and everything like that inside of Rome fell apart. The barbarians at the door were just, in effect, passing phases. They come in waves and do a little damage and then go away, and you still had Rome, but it was still crumbling down. And now we have Trump. And I'm wondering if I should go buy a violin and fiddle away while Trump burns everything to the ground. And, I voted for Bernie. I voted for Hillary just because Trump scares me. Did scare me, always had scared me. The rest of the people they beat to even get the nomination, those people scared me. Trump was just that X amount worse. Scared me. I'm worried. I'm worried about what's going to happen. I live in California. California is a bright blue state. So any of the ill effects that may come from whatever Trump and the Republican Congress is going to try to do over the next 4 years at least, may be tempered, may be shielded. I may be shielded by the fact I'm a white male living in a very blue California. But my blue shield, as it were, may not protect me from everything. And I'm not entirely certain what I'm going to do if I feel I can't be protected, even within my own state, from President Trump. So to all of those people out there who voted for him, I hope you got what you asked for. I hope you get what you asked for. I hope you get what you deserve. Because I didn't think that this country could stoop any lower in terms of its collective intelligence after voting for Bush Jr. the second time. But all of you proved me wrong. And I hope you're happy. So tomorrow, I'll go back to playing my games and doing my other videos and hoping that my worst fears don't come true. So until then, I wish you guys a good day. Stay strange. Bye-bye.